Oh, okay. We're good. All right. Check 1, check 2, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madame, I should only be too pleased. This murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. Sure thing. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assist in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume, yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it! Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Mr. Sato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Sasato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. God. I assure you, I'm not merely feigning ignorance, quote unquote. It would appear that the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your astute compatriot of the crime. Well, that doesn't make sense! The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement of the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So, you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you, but it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books. I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh, dear. Tell me about the landlord. Ah, tell me. Oh, God, he's a landlord? Fuck, he's guilty then. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. He's a boomer? He's got a crescent moon haircut? He's a goddamn landlord? He's guilty. I'm calling it. It was the first time I ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is, well, service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary! As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating for a soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Damn. I mean, I get it, but damn. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one! Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. Oh my god, I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. That answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Is that a British thing? Surely not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness! Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by a number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. Damn. While the rich open windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. Oh. But its legacy remains, as you see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging. And discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. It's been... Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Did you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. There's simply too many fascinating books here. Couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. What is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us! I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I'm quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garadeb is... Mr. Sholmes said as once before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo? As yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we proceed we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Well, I mean... we can probably check back here, then. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was a detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Good show. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me what... For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bally well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Yes. Of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'd be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourself. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you can see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garradev is hiding something. So with our avenues investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. I wonder... Hey, you motherfucker! I saw you spawn in. I saw you. I was like, wait just a goddamn minute. Oh, what's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes? Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. What were you doing over by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. It's sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? There's a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. There's just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let's conclude the matter before dark. Alright. Let's do it. Mr. Garradev, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon? The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Yeah. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. How could you possibly... How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts! Die! And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Oh boy, here we go. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see. but a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue, eh? Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. Or is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah! Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garrideb. At Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I've observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I've made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion, and a simple visit to the circus now revealed the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Huh. Now, Mr. Garrideb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, that blithe pose and the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man! I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Given rise. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I am afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at this tower of cakes. Oh! There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they had no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Walked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Okay. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. This concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Unfortunately, buddy, it's never that simple. We gotta fix your argument here.
What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times, too. Oh! Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it, again? Well, your deductions just now, do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Yeah. Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, that, my dear Sato. It occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they're infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion! Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage. That's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it! Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Yeah. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least that's what I want to believe. Let us start again from the beginning of Sherlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Alright, let's crack this case. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might the beast take? Ah, man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance leads directly to the answer. No, not the lion statue. I really didn't see a lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Something with a very fierce nature. It couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That'll lead us to the true answer. Well, this is right well, I mean, this is... Wait! That's right behind it. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrideb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there.
Take that!
True nature of that beast that has run rampant here is revealed by the newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution could be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late, the fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Yeah! Oh, there's a mark on the side of his face I didn't realize before. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could the angry creature disappear to, madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it's plain to me with one glance in your direction. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself! Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garrideb anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue this maid is trying to hide. I wonder what Mr. Garrideb's wife could be. Hey, wait, what? What? Hey, what the?
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown in the hand of Mr. Garrideb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrideb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garrideb herself. Damn, there we go. Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightfully surmised, this is the wife, yes, my Jo. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a ballycock of It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you're a retired army man, you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, that you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you! I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing that a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please. The raging wife of Mr. Garrideb. Okay. You still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blind pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Alright, place heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by its supporting arm. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. Mrs. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he?
Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm seems to be propping up his head. Has some other significance then.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Gyarados' pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? That cheek.
Oh my, look at that bright red mark. Gosh, that's quite something and clearly made by somebody's hand.
Yes, Mr. Gyarados has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard.
Never seen such a clearly defined mark.
Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, it's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
By that clapped cheek. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that clapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madam Joan Garridan.
Well, yes.
Oh, is that why she's doing that so often? You've been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir.
How the blazes? How did you work that out, man?
Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view.
Well,
Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garridan to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, this pile of bills. No, not at all. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Gyarados' wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Jesus. Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that I left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. What caused the slap? Let me examine the bills, actually. Wait, what was that bookmark? Looking at these bills, it certainly amounts to a great deal of food. Meat and potatoes by the cartload, wasn't it? Well, looking at the two of them, you can tell immediately who eats the lion's share. Go, fuck off! Fuck off, she's a little doughy, so what? Well, at least we're no longer talking about an actual lion anymore.
Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Garridan is clearly an avid reader.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't think that's a bookmark.
Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary.
And look next to the signature here.
Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate romantic gesture.
Don't get any ideas, Susato-san.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
This bookmark is actually a love note then.
Take that!
Yes, it is the love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer.
Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed.
Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here?
John! But I don't know the ballet woman!
Don't know her.
That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there.
It was just in there, you say?
That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah!
A likely story.
Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place, and the note must have already been in there. So the previous owner of that book
Was using the note as a bookmark.
That's right. That's what I've been saying.
A likely story.
If I
heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Are you questioning my name now?
And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Ugh. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive wood woolen carpet. Whatever could have caused this destructive outburst. This time, madam, I'm afraid it's you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Wondering why I settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain, we only look at this tower. Nope. But surely Mrs. Garrett didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. There doesn't seem to be any doubt that the stats say at this array this room is in as a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Shulman's deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garrett's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. All right, let's see what we can see. Yes. I mean, this candle thing is missing one of the candles.
Take that!
Oh shit, for real? Okay. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. Oh yeah, that is a candle. Right, yeah. I was like, oh, it's missing a thing, and I was like, I saw the thing earlier. How did I... God, me and my lucky guessing, Jesus. But okay, we know. I know. I got brain now. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. So, scorch marks? It would appear this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garrett's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of a strike caused to cancel the fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir. I salute you! And down he goes. Fuck. Carpet scorched by a small fire. There we have it. Elementary.
It's these dashing long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there.
And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material? For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems.
Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt
Here we go again. And the carpet, was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor?
Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. It was caught between the old stick's rays and the raging flames.
You paint a torrid picture, sir. One would have been most entertaining. It's sympathy for you.
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The ballet furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Garrideb?
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Oof! Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. And the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is I lost my favorite. A book called The Lion's Pride.
The Lion's Pride. Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again.
I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest.
So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again.
It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick in full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was that?
Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see.
So exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below.
Damn it, that means the landlord couldn't have done it, huh?
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really?
Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you?
Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Garrideb's situation now, but what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances?
I can't help you there, I'm afraid.
What?
My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man would be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. Damn it. I just knew you were gonna say that. Now, Mr. Naruto, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories. Those relevant to the case, and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry. Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to.
So that's it. No more time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrideb.
Oh yes, I'm so sorry.
Thank you both very much for your time.
Soseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. Alright, let's go.
It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison.
Yes, I know. Let's hail a cab. Oh.
What's the matter?
Looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garrideb's house. Who the fuck?
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Oh, this guy looks just like a fucking latent character. Right here. This is a latent character NPC design right here.
Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking niminy-piminy?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Who is this Horatio fellow, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
Eh? What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looks as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Eh? A lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law.
Fine, I'll be on my way for today. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
They seem like fucking beacons of hope. I do hope you're not injured.
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you.
What was that all about?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
I'm not Horatio either.
Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here?
Is this in the Garrideb residence?
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode.
Mr. Garrideb mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor?
Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist than my battle of words. Ne'er could there be.
Sorry, battle, did you say?
Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth?
Mr. Natsume and I spot
Long into the night.
I see.
I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at the least.
So, fair maiden, so, good gentlemen, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well.
I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room.
Seems he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Garrideb house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage.
Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return.
Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. Let's hope we can get to the end of this part before my stream dies again.
Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so charged.
We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese.
Oh, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... Oh, Holmes, okay, not Zeke's. It is through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least.
Yes, it's you. The miserable, rotten spy. Airlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our defested friend is faring.
Gloomful room?
At least your accommodations here offer a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is a superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny.
You! Dare you, Airlock Sholmes? I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is be damned!
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? His lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Curse is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. That's a reaction image. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Wait, no, don't move. We need to talk. Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. That's really agitated him.
You don't mean this trial really is cursed somehow?
Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please, tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words.
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever.
Oh my goodness, it really be true. That was 16 words exactly.
Oh shit, was it? One? Yeah, okay. Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilded.
What? What?
Ah, I'm impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zieks killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Of course he is, then why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Reaper, Reaper, that's what people call me. Van Zieks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception.
Ah, that's good.
Soseki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there's both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, while the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage, by any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly is from time to time, my dear madame. It is simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my! The adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom. Within months, they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how?
Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever. Perhaps attacked by highwaymen.
Oh, no.
All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo.
I knew it. I'm dead! Dodo! Done for! Doomed!
When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your home at Mr. Garadeb's house, I assume. You didn't say you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. Well, I've only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself.
That didn't take long then.
Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room. But even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
You must have been very lonely having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now.
Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient.
The rent is cheap. I had so little money it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him. Have something to say, then say it! But if not, don't mention it in the first place!
Yes, well said.
It was true. It was all true.
You mean the room really is cursed then?
Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Could no one find it in his or her heart to believe me? Really? No one at all?
To believe. Yes, to believe. To believe. Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about the case on the SS Boria, if you recall.
The Buria. Ah, that case, the one with the snake.
Well, yes. At that time, I was a suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate.
I did I? Interesting.
What I want to know is why? Why did you believe me?
I see, yes, you mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow with found with the victim in a locked room.
Well, if you like, yes.
I'm a little surprised the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it.
But I could have been lying! Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me even a little.
I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me.
What?
You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in.
What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned.
But I could have betrayed your trust.
In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion.
Meaning...
whether or not that one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself.
Yes, he's right! He's right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
Whether or not I can believe myself. Defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself.
Yeah. You were so right, Kazuma. So true. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe.
Already?
Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here to shortly escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there is never enough time, is there?
Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. Although the man I was representing was not found guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
Something crucial?
What to believe in? Defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe even. But I think I've finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else. Trust my instincts.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
My instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow.
As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Of course, Mr. Natsume.
It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely need the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Mr. Sato?
Yes?
Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court?
Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant.
Hell yeah. Let's go. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. It's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Joseki-san has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Hell yeah, hell yes. And well, we may actually see that tomorrow, because I am going to stop right here, because we actually had a full investigation and we're going to have a full trial. So for now, thank you for coming, thank you for staying, thank you for watching the show, and I will see you all next time. Oh wait, shit. No, wait, fuck. Yep. Thank you for coming, thank you for staying, thank you for watching the show, and I will see you all next time.